The overwhelming topic of choice tonight is what happened in the last, 20 seconds of the game. I'm not sure what the time was when that ball was snapped, but got pretty crazy. So, yeah, look, there's no way around it. Myles Garrett can't. I'm just going to preface it by saying Myles Garrett obviously can't swing his helmet at somebody. I think the thing that's crazy is this game is a game played by gladiators with crazy things that are happening. Vicious, heinous hits are happening all the time. And we just kind of sit back and, we sit back and take it in. But, even like Demarius Randall's hit up the sideline of Deontay Johnson where his ear is bleeding, some of those things are crazy. It was you're really judging intent on these things, like James Harrison's hits, Colt McCoy, among others. It's like you're judging the intent, and it's hard to do that in football live action because it is it's moving quick, and you can say your helmet wasn't meant to drop and hit that person on the other person's head, whatever. But with Myles swinging the helmet, it is out in broad public. It's not a 1:00 game. It's not a game that's hidden on the 1:00 slate or even 4:25 slate where there are other games going. No, it is primetime Thursday night football, and we're sitting here taking it in. And it was overwhelming to witness because you just don't expect it. If you know Myles Garrett, he's such a serene guy. He's very quiet, very introspective, big into poetry, as we all know, very thoughtful human. Has had some anger issues that have popped up this year. The Jets game. Among some others, where it's just the punch he threw against the Titans, it's a little weird. You're thinking to yourself, and at least I know I have paying attention to who he is as a person, where it's like these flashes of anger are kind of strange. Now, listen, Mason Rudolph, his rich, and I mean rich press conference after the game where he claims he didn't do anything wrong. The whole thing starts with Myles kind of almost laying on Mason. Mason throws the ball. And listen, Myles played his ass off all game, changed the game for the Steelers offensive line, drew multiple penalties, but he didn't draw a sack. I think that started to wear on him. He missed a sack late that could have been. It's like he's had all of these games, the last few games, where he's been really close to getting sacks. Like he hit Josh Allen a couple times last week as Josh Allen was getting rid of the ball. And if you watch the All-22 film, you can see him getting frustrated with it, that these aren't going down as sacks or whatever. And I think it started to add up. And he kind of just, if you watch it, go back and watch it when the All-22 comes out, or you have a chance to watch the broadcast view if you go to NFL's Game Pass or however you view it, if you TiVo, record, whatever the modern method is. He kind of lays on him. He kind of just slowly drags him down, and I think that pissed Rudolph off, not to the point that Rudolph should have been grabbing his helmet. So it starts with him grabbing his helmet, trying to take off Myles' helmet, and then Myles is pissed off about him trying to push him and take off his helmet. So then he goes the next course, which is taking off Rudolph's helmet. He starts to back away. Mason Rudolph gets up and chases him with somebody, typical tough guy quarterback with a lineman, a big 6'6", 300-pound lineman in front of him trying to act tough. And, I don't know. Did Myles feel threatened? Did he feel cornered? Did he feel ganged up on? I don't know. But he threw the helmet, and you can't, you can't do that. You can't do it in front of it. It's like the whole, the first person to do it can get away with it, but it's the second person who was always caught. And I think Rudolph should be punished, because I think he was an instigator, and I think he brought the whole thing on, and I think he played a very large role in it. But Myles is going to get the big end of the punishment because, if he swings that helmet and he hits him hard, Mason kind of eats it and keeps going. But if he hits him hard in the right way at the right spot of the head, that could, I don't know, man. You can laugh at me, whatever, but that could literally kill somebody if it hits an object of that density, that material, hitting somebody on the head at that speed at which he swung it. It could theoretically kill somebody, and it could at that point be seen as a weapon. The CBA is kind of specific about some of those things, assault with a weapon, because of the helmet stuff that we've seen in the past. And it's pretty convenient that a lot of these former players who are doing the hot take stuff on these shows are forgetting some of the things in the past. The closest one I found to it was Texans defensive end Antonio Smith's suspension for throwing, a quick helmet toss, swipe type of throw Richie Incognito back when Incognito was with the Dolphins. It was only a 1 or 2 game suspension, but nonetheless, you know, it's a lot. It was jarring to take in, first of all, and it's like then the Pouncey is throwing, Marquise Pouncey's throwing punches on top of him, and Larry Ogunjobi comes in and kind of knocks over Mason Rudolph as Mason's throwing his arms up like he's the innocent guy. I don't know. With Myles, everybody kind of said it. You can't do it. It's embarrassing and it hurts the team. He's obviously at the minimum going to be out 2 weeks, which puts him out for Miami, which even if they lose him, I think they're still good enough to obviously win that game at home, but then it puts him out at the biggest game of the year, which is on the road at Pittsburgh, which, that game the Browns need to win to get to 6-6 to have a shot at doing something in their last 4 games. So that's, it's ugly, and you'd wish that Myles would walk away from it. And look, it looked like he was trying to back away from it, and Mason charged him, but at the end of the day, he threw the helmet swing. Like, you can't do it, and it landed in public, and how the NFL is going to treat it is going to be, it's going to be fascinating. I think Mason Rudolph played a really big role in instigating all of it, and I think he really has to be held accountable for that. And that's fine. I do think that Myles took it to a whole new level by swinging the helmet, and at that point, bringing on a whole new level of event there that'll probably won't be one that in 5-10 years you guys, you'll say, I remember the Myles Garrett helmet swing. That's one of those Twitter moments. I've seen few things as impactful as a primetime football game where you have that helmet swing and everybody's talking about it, and it's crazy. I think Pittsburgh should lose a couple guys. I think Pouncey acting, throwing punches, jumping on top of him doesn't make, 2 wrongs don't make a right. He should be suspended in some form. I think Steelers should be held accountable, but I do think that it is justified that Myles Garrett will catch a suspension. I think that's probably it. I don't think Demarius Randall's hit will get any more time. It certainly could, but I don't think it will necessarily, maybe in the ramifications of this type of game. But these 2 teams, you got to keep in mind, guys, these 2 teams run it back in 2 weeks. It's a short half week. They play Miami, and then they run it back in Pittsburgh the following week. So it's like the NFL's probably not going to want these guys just 2 weeks removed from this incident all facing each other again. So I would be prepared for a Myles Garrett suspension, and it's all on the table. It could be the rest of the year, or it could be 2 weeks. I don't think it's any less than 2 weeks, but I'm saying, like, it could